Hi, my name is Javs, also known as Javatronia. I'm a licensed hairstylist, freelance photographer and videographer, as well a mother. Recently, I was introduced to the world of toy collecting, and here I will share with you my journey and exploration into the world of action figures, not only as a collector and consumer, as well a passionate new fan. Hi, this is Javatronia with Javatronia Reviews, and I'm very excited to present to you today the Unique Toys Mania King, aka Galvatron. But just before we get there, I would like to introduce you to one of the original issues of Galvatron. Now this one specifically was issued by Takara in 2005. He's a redeco, so instead of being mainly gray, he is now mainly purple with some gray accenting and a few other minor adjustments. The other adjustment would be the retool of his face to more of a maniacal expression, which would be a lot more of his character. Now, Galvatron was introduced in the original G1 Transformers movie. The original toy was released in 1986-87, and it was almost 20 years before we got the new reissue, which was more likeness to the movie and the TV series. So it's really exciting for the fans, and it's been another almost 10 years before we've gotten a new version, which is much more to the likeness. There was the Universe in 2008 that was a little bit closer to what Galvatron would be, but he's still transformed into a tank, not the original canon. And for a G1 character, he was notably one of the best articulated in the G1 toy line. And so his articulation would include shoulder movement, swinging in and out, and forward and back. He does have elbow bending and also swings in and out here at the elbow. And then he does have a little bit of waist movement. And then his toes. He's no Jetfire, but considering he had a lot of articulation for the G1 series. And his transformation is pretty easy. Galvatron's transformation is on par with classic G1 transformations. Simple, direct, and to the point. No complicated moves or transitions. Clear and straightforward folds and collapses. This in no way lessens the enjoyment factor. In fact, in many ways adds to the playability, allowing you to focus on the imaginary storylines, opposed to a convoluted transformation. G1 Galvatron's transformation was the classic Transformers toy line at its finest. Alright, and here's Galvatron in his alt mode, which is his cannon. Unfortunately, I don't have a battery in here, so we don't get to see his lights or hear his sounds. And there's no articulation in this mode, but here he is. Pretty amazing, actually, for a G1 character. Very large, almost kind of like science prototype-like. I like him. Actually, he's a good representation of the cannon in his alt mode. Now, Galvatron does have kind of a second alt mode, which turns him into a handheld cannon weapon. So you would drop this piece down, swivel his piece around, and then there would be a trigger here that would create lights and sounds. And now, this is not what we're here for today. I would like to introduce to you the Unique Toys Mania King. Ta-da! Now this is his alt mode, cannon mode. Freaking awesome. He looks so much like the movie and or TV series. Now this is a true representation of what we've been waiting for Galvatron. And like many others, my husband has definitely been waiting for something this awesome to give likeness and life to what Galvatron would be for, you know, his armada, the sweeps, everybody that's been on the shelf. This is what we've been waiting for. Now this is the mode where Galvatron vaporized and took out Starscream and showed his true potential and true power for what this cannon holds. Pretty awesome and freaking amazing. I just cannot get over how awesome he looks. I mean, he looks like a galactic cannon of some sort, and I'm really excited about him. I really love the detail that you have in the cannon, and you don't really feel like you can pick apart where, you know, his robot pieces or modes or kibble, whatever extra. He looks like a full cannon on his own. Now in his alt mode, there is minimal articulation available. Pretty much you just have the treads movement here to kind of give you a different angle. Pretty much that's all you have in this mode. Most of his articulation comes in robot mode. And some of the complaints that we've seen or heard really have been that his cannon, his whole piece here, isn't orange, but really, I mean, it matches this whole piece, and all that you would see really coming out for that plasma or the firing would be this gold piece, so it's almost like as if it's see-through, which I really like. So, you know, those that don't like that, okay, so, you know, whatever. We have an amazing piece here to represent Galvatron. So, and now let's get to his transformation.
Mania King, aka Galvatron, represents clear ingenuity and clever design based on a classic figure and character. Each piece has its place and transitions nicely, albeit a bit disorienting and somewhat confusing at times. At a total of 22 moves, the challenge isn't so much in the complexity, but the rigidness and quality of the figure itself. Most of the figure is sturdy and stiff in well-placed ratcheted joints, but in conjunction with the dense plastic, it feels as though too much torque may result in some stressing in the more fragile plastics and/or areas. That said, we haven't had any issues with quality control, but have this serve as a fair warning to handle this figure with attentive care and finesse, if not for respect for collectibles, but for the price of a replacement for a limited third-party figure. Again, we have no issue with our figure through his numerous transformations, but we do give special treatment to this amazing piece of art. Mania King, aka Galvatron, satisfies in challenge as well as execution and is an enjoyable asset to any Transformers collection.
And here we have Galvatron in his robot mode. I'm in love. I love this. He is such an amazing representation of Galvatron. For those like my husband that have been waiting, this is what I'm talking about. His colors are amazing. I love the purple. It's such a rich and deep purple. There have been some complaints about the lighter parts. Naturally, they are supposed to be more of a gray tone. To the naked eye, you can see it, but they are more portrayed as a lighter color, so there are some complaints about that. His physique is more streamlined, muscular, ripped, and detailed, much like a Dragon Ball character. Now, Mania King fits in really well with the Classics and Chug line. He's more of a Voyager scale, opposed to your Masterpiece collection. And the price point, he is a little bit high on the price point, but considering that he is third-party and limited production, is definitely worth it. Now, as far as articulation, he is very, very articulated. His head is on a ball joint, so he gets lots of movement there. And his shoulders, they swing forward and back, in and out. He does have bicep swivel, elbow bends, and his wrist is a little less articulated. It does move kind of in and out, and his hands open and close, his fingers here. There have been some complaints about his wrists not having the level of articulation, but it's not any less than the Megatron, the Henkei Megatron. Now his waist, it does have a twist movement, hips swing back and forth and in and out. He does have thigh swivel, knee bends, also rotation, and he has a ball joint for his ankles here, so he has lots of movement, tilting side to side, and toe movement. He also has a heel spur that you can use for posing that has lots of movement as well. There's also, you can move his cannon, can be pegged into either side, but traditionally he is on the right side, so this is where I like to put it. Now overall, his articulation is really amazing, so if there's going to be any complaints, my biggest complaint would be his wrist. Size comparison, I have the Henkei Megatron. He is pretty on par. They are toe-to-toe, head-to-head, basically the same size. As far as height and proportions, he is very well sized to Megatron. In comparison to Rodimus, He is slightly taller, which is movie accurate, and he looks really great. The colors and tones and shininess and matteness all fit really well together, so works very nicely. They match up very well. And for fun, we have Starscream, and it is no wonder he was obliterated by Galvatron, because Galvatron is huge compared to him and obviously a lot more powerful. So that leads me to thanking Unique Toys for making such an amazing figure. It being third party, this is really an art piece. These people took something that they imagined and reestablished a figure and representing what they felt like, you know, their favorite character was supposed to look like, and I really have to appreciate that, because it definitely is probably one of the best representations of what Galvatron would look like and would be in a toy. It represents very well in both robot mode and canon, his alt mode being canon mode. He is definitely much more of a collector's piece opposed to a toy, so I'm really excited to have him stand on my shelf and represent Galvatron. And this is Unique Toys Mania King. Thank you for watching Javatronia Reviews, and remember, enjoy your toys because they can always be taken away.